Let's get straight to it. The reason you feel lost, or like you're chasing someone else's definition of success, it isn't a lack of ambition, it's a lack of clarity in your internal compass. It's that nagging feeling, right? That you're playing a role in a life that isn't really yours, even if you're succeeding by every single external metric.
Look, let's be crystal clear. Your drive, your talent, the hours you grind out, none of that is the problem. The problem is all that incredible energy is being pointed in the wrong direction. That feeling of burnout, of being an imposter even when you get the promotion, that's not a personal failure. It is a symptom of a deep, structural misalignment between what you do every day and who you fundamentally are.
But what if you could stop guessing? What if you could recalibrate that compass with total precision and engineer a life where fulfillment is just the default setting? In this explainer, we're giving you the blueprint. We're going to walk through a 3-step psychological system called purpose mapping. Now, this isn't about finding your passion. It's about building it using a proven framework. Think of it as structural engineering for your life.
So here's our roadmap. We'll start with the alignment paradox, why climbing the ladder can leave you feeling so empty. Then we'll diagnose the science behind this disconnect before diving into the core solution, the 3-phase framework. After that, we'll get into the psychology of why this system is so powerful, and we'll wrap it up by giving you a concrete 90-day blueprint to put this into action, like right away. Okay, first up, let's dissect the core problem, the alignment paradox. This is that all-too-common experience of achieving a goal you thought you wanted, the title, the income, the recognition, only to feel this profound sense of nothing. It's like you've climbed the entire ladder of success, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall the whole time. This isn't a bug in your ambition, it's a feature of a world that screams external validation over internal alignment. So, here's the absolute key. True, sustained success, the kind that energizes you instead of draining you, it isn't about chasing external rewards. It's the natural, almost effortless expression of who you already are. It happens when your daily actions become a direct extension of your core unshakable values, your non-negotiables. And when that alignment clicks into place, achievement is no longer some destination you have to suffer to reach, it just becomes a natural byproduct of your identity.
So why does this painful disconnect happen in the first place? Well, let's move from the philosophical to the psychological, because this isn't just some vague feeling, it's a specific condition with a clear diagnosis. That sense of running on a hamster wheel, the chronic stress, the identity crisis, it actually has a clinical name. And understanding it is the first real step to solving it for good.
And that name is cognitive dissonance. It's the intense mental friction that gets created when your actions are constantly out of sync with your core beliefs. Just imagine a deeply creative person forced to spend 40 hours a week staring at spreadsheets that just crush their spirit. Every single keystroke creates a tiny internal conflict. Your brain is literally fighting itself, and this constant low-grade internal warfare is precisely what drains your willpower, tanks your energy, and leads you straight to burnout. This slide really breaks down the 2 types of fuel we all run on. When you're stuck in that state of cognitive dissonance, you become totally dependent on extrinsic rewards, the paycheck, the praise, the title. But that fuel is fragile. It's a sugar high that wears off fast, leaving you depleted and needing another hit of validation from the outside world. Intrinsic motivation, on the other hand, that's like having a self-sustaining core reactor inside you. It's durable, it's energizing, and it comes from that pure alignment of your actions and your identity. It simply doesn't run out.
Okay, so how do we switch from that fragile fuel to the core reactor? The solution is to define and then commit to an unshakable core North Star. You need a single guiding principle, what we call a personal life thesis. This thesis needs to be so clear and so deeply ingrained that it becomes an automatic filter for every single important choice you make. It's the anchor that stops you from drifting into roles, projects, and lives that just are not your own.
Now, let's get to the framework itself. This is where we shift from diagnosis to design. See, purpose isn't something you just stumble upon on a good day, it's something you engineer with precision. This is the blueprint, a repeatable 3-phase system for constructing a life of deep alignment from the ground up.
These are the 3 phases of the architecture. First, the core value deconstruction. This is all about taking a ruthless inventory of your raw materials. Second, the Ikigai Alignment Matrix. This is where you map those internal assets against the needs of the real world. And third, the 90-day Execution Thesis. This is your operational plan to actually field test your design and make it real.
Phase 1 is the absolute foundation. It is pure, objective self-analysis.
First, you have to identify your 3 to 5 immutable core values. These are the principles like autonomy or integrity or creativity that you would absolutely refuse to compromise on, even if it cost you. Then you identify your 3 to 5 signature strengths. Now, these aren't just things you're good at, they are abilities that feel natural, energizing, and almost effortless to you. Together, these values and strengths form the non-negotiable core of who you are.
Okay, phase 2 is where we get tactical. We use this powerful Japanese concept called Ikigai, which basically translates to a reason for being. And this matrix brilliantly lays out the landscape. Your goal is to find the intersection of 4 critical domains: what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Take a look at the grid. If you're good at something and you get paid for it, but you don't love it, that's just a profession. And it's the fast track to burnout. The sweet spot, your Ikigai, your purpose, is in that rare, powerful intersection where all 4 of those circles overlap. That's your target.
Now for phase 3. Once you've used the Ikigai matrix to zero in on that potential sweet spot, you don't just blindly leap. No, you build a testable hypothesis. You create a simple, powerful statement, your execution thesis, that you will use as the ultimate decision filter for the next 90 days. Every opportunity, every project, every major commitment gets passed through one single question. Does this align with my thesis? If it's a yes, you engage. If it's a no, it's an automatic decline. It is that simple, and it has to be that ruthless.
So we've covered the what and the how. Now let's really dig into the why. Why is this framework so unbelievably effective? This is not about positive thinking or some motivational fluff. This is about neuroscience. This system works because it's designed to align with the fundamental reward and motivation circuits that are hardwired into your brain. Here's the payoff on a neurological level. First, it activates your intrinsic motivation systems. When your actions directly reflect your identity, your brain rewards you with a steady supply of dopamine, the molecule of drive, making it so much easier to enter a flow state, that peak performance zone where you're so absorbed that time just melts away. Second, it resolves cognitive dissonance. That mental friction just vanishes, so the habits that move you towards your goals feel automatic and effortless, not like a constant battle of willpower. And third, it strengthens your resilience. With a clear purpose, setbacks are no longer personal failures. They're just data points, making it way easier to regulate your emotions and stay the course.
And this right here, this is the ultimate paradigm shift. This system fundamentally rewires your entire relationship with effort. You stop needing to manufacture willpower to push through your day because the work itself starts to feel intrinsically rewarding. You are no longer dragging yourself towards some distant finish line. You are being pulled forward by a deep internal current of meaning and alignment. The effort itself becomes energizing.
All right, enough theory. Let's make this real. This is your high-value, no-excuses blueprint for implementation. We're going to distill this entire framework down into a set of non-negotiable actions you can take to start building your aligned life starting the second this explainer ends. Let's start with a really powerful diagnostic question. I want you to identify your 5 biggest failures and your 5 peak successes, those moments when you felt most alive, most effective, most you. But don't just list them, interrogate them. In your successes, what core values were you honoring? What signature strengths were you flexing? And in your failures, what value was being violated? What strength was being ignored? The raw data for who you are is already there, buried in the code of your own life experience. So here's your protocol, mirroring the 3 phases we just talked about. Step 1, conduct that core value and strength audit using the analysis of your past experiences. Get it down on paper. Step 2, take that raw data of who you are and execute the Ikigai Alignment Matrix. Visually map your internal assets against external opportunities. And step 3, distill all your findings into a single, actionable purpose thesis and start testing it in the real world. And here is a template to build your thesis. It's simple, but it's incredibly powerful. My purpose is to use my signature strength to solve a problem the world needs solved. For example, my purpose is to use my ability to simplify complex ideas to help founders secure funding. Or maybe, my purpose is to use my empathy to design more accessible healthcare systems. You see, it has to be clear, actionable, and testable. And this is your commitment. Not a lifetime, just 90 days. For the next 3 months, you will run every significant decision through your thesis statement. This is not a life sentence. It is a strategic, data-gathering experiment. At the end of those 90 days, you will have invaluable, real-world feedback. You will know if you're on the right vector, and you can recalibrate with total confidence.
You know, if you take only one thing away from our time together, please let it be this. Forget the apps, the gurus, the complex time management systems. The single most powerful productivity hack in existence is absolute, unshakable clarity on why you are doing what you are doing. It's an upstream solution. It eliminates hundreds of downstream problems like procrastination and indecision right at the source. It simplifies everything.
So, here is your mission. Not next week, not when you feel ready, tomorrow. Block out 30 minutes in your calendar and execute the core value and strength audit. Analyze your peaks, analyze your failures, and extract the code of who you are. This is the first and most critical step on the path to charting a life that is authentically and powerfully yours.
So let's wrap this up. Remember, purpose mapping is the definitive solution to the problem of burnout and emotional misalignment. And why this all matters is that it provides a systematic, repeatable way to engineer a life of sustained intrinsic motivation. By using the Ikigai Alignment Matrix and that 90-day purpose thesis, you are directly rewiring your own psychology. You're eliminating the cognitive dissonance that drains your energy, and you are intentionally creating the conditions for flow state to emerge naturally. And never, ever forget, productivity isn't about doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless.